Hey there. Let me share a bit about my journey into understanding wealth. Like many of you, I thought wealth was all about having a fat bank account and a fancy car. But guess what? I was wrong. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about having assets. Now don't worry. I'll explain what assets are in a bit. I remember reading a quote by Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said, "The rich buy assets. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buy liabilities they think are assets." This blew my mind. It made me realize that understanding wealth isn't just about earning money, but more about how you manage it. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that according to a Federal Reserve report, the average American household has about $40,000 in liquid savings? But here's the kicker. Most people don't invest this money in assets. They often spend it on things that lose value over time, like a new car or the latest gadget. So I started digging deeper. I learned that the key to wealth isn't just hard work, it's smart work. It's about putting your money where it can grow. And that's what led me to discover the power of assets over liabilities. In this journey, I'll take you through simple, everyday language. We'll explore the world of assets and liabilities together. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll look at your finances in a whole new light. Chapter 2. What are assets, anyway? Alright, let's dive into what assets really are. Simply put, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. It's like having a little worker that works for you while you sleep. Sounds cool, right? Now you might think, do I have any assets? Well, let's see. If you own a house that you rent out, that's an asset. The rent you receive each month is income from your asset. But if you're living in that house, it's not really an asset in the wealth building sense because it's not bringing in money. Here's a fun fact to think about. According to a survey by Bankrate, only 28% of Americans are invested in real estate, which is one of the most common types of assets. That means a lot of people are missing out on potential income. Assets come in different forms. They can be stocks, bonds, real estate, a business, or even intellectual property. The cool thing about assets is that they can make money through appreciation, dividends, or rent. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, once said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." This is the essence of assets. They work for you, so you don't have to work forever. So, why should you care about assets? Here's why. Assets can help you build wealth, provide financial security, and give you freedom. And who doesn't want that? Stay with me as we continue this journey. Next, we'll explore liabilities and why they're the flip side of the wealth coin. Remember, understanding assets is your first step towards financial freedom. Chapter 3. Liabilities. The silent wealth eaters. So we've talked about assets. Now let's chat about liabilities. You know, those things that take money out of your pocket. Think of it like this. If assets are your financial friends, then liabilities are kind of like those friends who always need to borrow money. A liability, simply put, is something that costs you. Your car loan, your credit card debt, even your home can be a liability if it's not earning you money. It's like having a hole in your wallet where money keeps slipping out. Here's a surprising fact. The average American household carries $137,063 in debt, as reported by the Federal Reserve. That's a lot of liabilities. It's no wonder many feel like they can't get ahead. Liabilities can be sneaky. They often dress up as necessities or even investments. But the truth is, they can keep you from building real wealth. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. Remember, it's not just about how much you earn, but how much you keep. That's why understanding liabilities is crucial. It's like having a map in a minefield. It can save you from financial disaster. So what's the strategy here? Identify your liabilities and manage them wisely. That might mean paying off high-interest debt or avoiding unnecessary loans. It's about making smart choices with your money. As Dave Ramsey, a popular personal finance guru, often says, "Debt is dumb, cash is king." Keeping your liabilities in check is a key step in your journey to financial freedom. So let's make smart moves and keep our money where it belongs, in our pockets. Chapter 4. Thinking like the wealthy. Now let's talk mindset. How do the wealthy think about money, assets, and liabilities? This is crucial because, as it turns out, building wealth is as much about your mindset as it is about your money. Wealthy people think differently. They see money as a tool, not just a means to buy things. They focus on acquiring assets, not just income. It's like playing a game of chess. They're always thinking a few moves ahead. A study by Thomas J. Stanley, author of The Millionaire Next Door, found that most millionaires live below their means. They're not buying the fanciest cars or the biggest houses. Instead, they're quietly building assets. So this doesn't mean you have to be stingy. It's about being smart. It's about choosing to invest in an asset over splurging on a liability. Remember, every dollar you spend on a liability is a dollar that could have been growing in an asset. One strategy is to adopt what I like to call the asset-first mindset. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, is this an asset or a liability? Will this help me grow my wealth? This simple question can be a game changer. The key is to start small. You don't need to be a millionaire to think like one. It's about making deliberate choices with your money. As the old saying goes, take care of the pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves. So as we move forward, let's think like the wealthy. Let's focus on building assets and managing liabilities. It's not just about getting rich, it's about creating a life of financial freedom and security. Let's make it happen. Chapter 5. Assets in Action. So we've discussed what assets are, but let's see them in action. It's like knowing the ingredients of a cake, but now let's bake it. Assets are the real stars in the wealth building show. First off, real estate. It's a classic asset. Did you know that about 65% of American households own their home? But here's the twist. Your home is only an asset if it's bringing in money, like through renting. Then there's the stock market. Investing in stocks can be like planting a money tree. Sure, it has its ups and downs, but did you know the S&P 500 has historically returned about 10% annually? That's your money working for you. Don't forget about bonds. They're like the steady, reliable friend. They might not be as flashy as stocks, but they can provide a stable income. It's all about balance in your asset portfolio. Business ownership is another big one. Think of it this way. When you own a business, you're not just working for money. You're making money work for you. According to Forbes, over 600,000 new businesses start each year in the US. Imagine that potential. Intellectual property is a hidden gem. If you write a book, create a software, or invent something that can keep paying you for years, it's like planting a seed that grows into a tree that keeps giving fruit. So how do you start? Pick an asset class that interests you and suits your lifestyle. Research, learn, and maybe start small. The key is to start. As Warren Buffett says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Chapter 6. Starting small, your first asset. All right, let's get practical. How do you acquire your first asset? It might seem daunting, but it's like learning to ride a bike. Start with training wheels. First, assess your finances. Do you have savings? Great. If not, start by setting aside a small portion of your income regularly. It's like filling up a piggy bank. It adds up. Next, educate yourself. Read books, watch tutorials, attend seminars. Knowledge is your best investment. The more you know, the better your choices. Now, let's talk options. If you're interested in real estate, consider a small rental property. You don't need a mansion. A small apartment can do the trick. The key is to find something that will generate more income than its expenses. If the stock market intrigues you, start with a small investment account. You can even start with an app. Remember, you don't need to be a Wall Street wizard. Start with index funds or ETFs. They're like a mixed bag of stocks, a great starting point. What if you have a business idea? Start it as a side hustle. Test the waters. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to have potential. The idea is to take that first step. As the saying goes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your first asset is your first step towards financial freedom. So let's take that step together. In Chapter 7, Dodging the Debt Trap. Now let's navigate the tricky world of liabilities, particularly debts. Think of liabilities as holes in your financial boat, too many, and you're sinking. Managing them is key to staying afloat. First off, not all debt is bad. For example, a mortgage for a rental property can be good if the income covers the costs. But consumer debt, like credit cards, that's a different story. The average credit card interest rate hovers around 16%, which can quickly turn a small purchase into a big liability. One strategy is the snowball method. Start by paying off your smallest debt, then move to the next one. It's like climbing a ladder. You start from the bottom. Another approach is the avalanche method, where you pay off debts with the highest interest rates first. It's more about math than momentum. Budgeting is your best friend here. Keep track of your spending. It's like having a map. You need to know where you're going. Remember, avoiding debt doesn't mean living like a hermit. It's about making smart choices. Do you really need that new gadget on credit, or can it wait? One fascinating thing I learned is that millionaires, on average, carry less personal debt than the average American. They understand that debt is a wealth killer. So let's be smart about our debts. Let's keep our liabilities in check and our financial boat sailing smoothly. Chapter 8. Expanding your financial garden. Growing your asset base is like tending a garden. You start with a few plants, but with care and time, you can have a whole garden. The same goes for your assets. One key strategy is reinvestment. Let's say your stocks pay dividends. Instead of spending that money, reinvest it. It's like planting the seeds you get from one plant to grow more. Diversification is another important tactic. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across different asset classes. This way, if one underperforms, the others can balance it out. Real estate can be a great way to grow your assets. The beauty of real estate is the leverage. You can control a large asset with a relatively small amount of money up front. Starting a business or side hustle can also expand your asset base. With the internet, the cost of starting a business has never been lower. You could be sitting on a gold mine and not even know it. Another aspect is continuous learning. The world of investment is always changing. Stay informed, read books, attend webinars, or join investment groups. Here's an inspiring fact. According to a survey, about 55% of millionaires attribute their wealth to owning a business. That's significant. Remember, asset growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Patience, persistence, and smart decisions are key. Let's keep growing our financial garden, one asset at a time. Chapter 9. Compounding, the eighth wonder of the world. Have you ever heard of compound interest? Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." This is the magic ingredient in wealth building. Compound interest is when you earn interest on both your original money and the interest you've already earned. Imagine planting a tree, and then that tree grows more trees, which in turn grow even more. That's compounding in a nutshell. Here's an eye-opening fact. If you invest just $100 a month from age 25 to 65 at a 7% annual return, you'll end up with over $264,000. That's the power of compound interest over time. The key to harnessing compound interest is starting early and being consistent. It's not about how much you invest, it's about how long you let it grow. One strategy is to automate your investments. Set up a monthly transfer to your investment account. It's like putting your wealth building on autopilot. Another important aspect is to reinvest your dividends and interest. Don't take the money out. Let it keep growing. Remember, the market will have its ups and downs, but over time it tends to go up. Stay the course and don't panic when things look rough. Compounding isn't just for stocks. It works for real estate and other investments too. Anywhere your money can grow and generate more money is a chance for compounding to work its magic. So, let's get on the right side of compound interest. Start early, stay consistent, and watch your wealth grow exponentially. Chapter 10. Your path to financial freedom. We've come to the end of our journey, but really it's just the beginning. Now you have the knowledge to start building your wealth and achieving financial freedom. Remember, wealth building is a journey, not a sprint. It's about making smart choices consistently over time. It's not about how much you make, but how much you keep and grow. Your first step could be as simple as opening an investment account or starting a budget. Maybe it's reading a book on real estate or attending a financial seminar. Keep learning and stay curious. The world of finance is always evolving, and there's always something new to discover. Set clear goals for yourself. Do you want to own a home, retire early, or start a business? Write them down and make a plan. Don't forget to celebrate your milestones along the way. Whether it's paying off a debt or buying your first stock, each step is a victory. One final thought. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about freedom. The freedom to make choices, to live on your terms, and to create a life you love. So take what you've learned and start your journey to financial freedom. Remember, the best investment you can make is in yourself, Let's make it happen.